Well, a very good morning and welcome to this episode of the topical discussion. As 2026 ticks, there's just a lot that is unfolding. We're looking at the odds, we're looking at the dynamics, we're looking at the trends. But above all, the country is yet to grasp what everything now means or implies for the 2026 polls. And this morning we want to ask whether indeed the country is reading the red flags, or the parties that are set for the race are sizing up to the game, or they're waiting for the final whistle. Joining me this morning is Honorable Matthias Mpuga, the President of the Democratic Front. Good to have you and a very good morning.
Thank you, Simon. Good morning.
Pleasure having you. Well, there is a sense that there is a bit of steam emerging ahead of 2026. Whether it's pointing to a right direction or not is another question. Where we stand now, we are spoiled for choice. A number of people have come out to say they are going to be presidential candidates come 2026. Are you one of them?
Is the reference to steam cold steam or hot steam?
Hot steam. There's a lot of excitement. It's peppered with excitement and anxiety.
Yeah, I think anxiety would be the right word to use in the circumstances. And to answer you more aptly, my engagement in politics is not a matter of comedy. Wherever I have been and whatever I've been into has been for consequence. Therefore, I'm not among those who dream that whatever the case, wherever and whenever I must be on the ballot paper. I'm the president of the DF. The decision to have a presidential candidate is not a personal matter. It's a party matter. Secondly, in the DF constitution, being president of the party does not make you an automatic presidential candidate. The party constitution is open that even your president, they will open up for individuals that seek to be candidates at the polls. But this decision will be taken by the National Executive Committee, NEC, before the end of this month.
Do you, as Mpuga, have presidential ambitions for 2026?
I am not the president of DF, a Rotary Club. The DF is a political party that seeks at an opportune moment to partake of state power. And should my party make a decision to have a presidential candidate and endorse me as such, I'll have no choice. If I wouldn't do that and they have said it so, I'll have to abdicate the chair of the president of the DF. So the danger with politicians and politics is probably that we address parties and our choices in a first person singular. I prefer to respond to the collective. And because I am part of the collective, that decision will be taken when the collective is being resolved upon.
Has the country gotten to a critical moment where vying for the presidency is fashionable?
That's why at the DF, it's not a crisis, because it's a decision we can make when we should make it, when we must make it.
You're late, aren't you?
Late?
Yes.
Why? What makes me late? Presidential nominations have a date, and we are aware, the DF. Is it that I am an unknown entity in this country? Is it a matter of first come, that if you announce first, therefore you are ahead of everyone? I doubt. It's a question of preparedness. It's a question of the synergies you're building across the political strata. It's a question of the message you are giving out and how that picks traction across. So it's not a question of announcement.
Don't you find it quite ironical that DF is gearing up to elections where you've already raised red flags that without electoral reforms, it will be yet another dramatic event, and DF is getting in there?
When we first raised these matters, and by the way, it's not the DF that first raised this. I raised these issues with colleagues in the opposition 3 years ago, probably more than 3 years ago, when I was leading the opposition in Parliament and prepared my colleagues. We in principle agreed that there was a problem and something needed to be done in earnest before the excitement of the election, because I knew as much as everyone else that once the election fever picks up, common sense is lost. People lose imagination and their sight is entirely on the election, regardless of whether they have a chance at the polls or not. So, when we formed the DA initially, the alliance, we set out to amplify the need. We actually extended the red flags to the top of every roof to have everybody pay attention. Whereas these legitimate issues had everybody listen, the whole agenda of reforms was hijacked and circumvented by opportunists, especially in the opposition. And because people look at themselves in the political mirror and only see themselves, they thought that the agitation for reforms was an attempt to benefit individuals. You had this, you hosted people here, and they made statements that probably can only be described as idiotic on reforms. So we lost this because along the way, the political opposition has lost its way. And in losing its way, we missed an opportunity.
Or could it be that the driver of these electoral reforms was also self-seeking? And that's you.
Did the driver take away the road on which the issues are driven? What stopped the other drivers from picking them up? Was this driver carrying these issues in his pocket? Was knowledge a preserve of that driver? Was information a preserve of that individual? It's sheer optimism, ignorance, and sometimes I contend complicity and connivance. Because
you need to expound on that complicity.
Yeah, when I say complicity, I contend, and I will say so, that there are groups in the opposition that are serving other agenda. And therefore, whatever we try to do something that will catapult the opposition to a bigger step, they somehow freeze it, they negative it, and then ensure it does not move. They make it their business to make sure it does not move. And I have seen this. Some have even had the courage to author letters pouring cold on attempts to drive an agenda from the opposition that is collective, that is capable of giving the opposition an opportunity at the polls, and we lost it.
Okay.
Do you want me to cite examples?
Yes, go ahead.
Small examples, because at the end of the day, our argument was that the reform agenda may not give us everything we need at this moment, but it must start, because reform, which included constitutional overhaul, reform that had a conversation on the transition, reforms that had an impact on the current election process, could not be achieved as an event. And therefore, they needed to be cascaded. So we enlisted what we call low-hanging fruits that we could obtain in a period of 3, 6 to 1 year to after election processes.